A video 2 years in the making, and the very reason why I began creating the Port vs. Port series, which highlights differences and similarities of vanilla titles and ports, and gives you a clean, clear, and concise outlook on your preferred version. Resident Evil 2 has an incredible amount of ports to look over. And that's why in January we're celebrating the release of Resident Evil 2 the Remake 2019, but I also wanted to highlight Resident Evil 2 the original version. So that's why today we're going to be looking at 4 different versions of Resident Evil 2. First one being the PS1 version, the N64 which I have here, the Dreamcast, as well as the GameCube. So today's edition on Port vs. Port, we're going to be looking at the different versions, the differences, similarities, and see which version you guys need to pick on today's edition of Port vs. Port. Today we begin with the PS1 version of Resident Evil 2 and the first iteration of the title. Resident Evil 2 was a huge upgrade in both story and graphical prowess to its original counterpart, with 2 campaigns, introducing 2 brand new characters, Leon and Claire, and on top of running on 2 discs. As if this wasn't enough, Capcom introduced the DualShock version released in the same year of 1998, with very few little added features other than rumble control, analog movement, the addition of a range mode, and finally, an extreme battle mode. Not much to say as this is the vanilla compared to all other versions. However, it is the most easily accessible, being able to be physically played on consoles that can run on PlayStation 1 titles such as the PS2 or the PS3, or can be purchased digitally on the go on PlayStation Network. Whichever one you pick is a great version of play. However, future ports do have more added amount of content not seen in prior versions, which we shall begin to delve into and find out which version is right for you. One of the best anomalies of the Nintendo 64, Resident Evil 2 is quite the beast that shouldn't be judged by its outer appearance. With cartridges using about 4 megabytes to a whopping 32, there was no way to fit 2 720 megabyte CD-ROM discs on this, right? Well, say hello to Resident Evil 2 doing that very same thing, compressing 2 discs into a 512 megabyte Nintendo 64 cartridge. As expected, there is some visible compression, so let's take a look at what that entails. Released a full year after the vanilla on Halloween Day in 1999 in North America, and January 28th in 2000 in Japan, Angel Studios had their work cut out for them to fit so much into a small cartridge, but got to work in combination with Capcom and legendary N64 compression team Factor 5, who worked on Pokemon Stadium and Rogue Squadron. For starters, the game can actually perform at a higher resolution of the backgrounds than that of the PS1 thanks to the expansion pack, rivaling that of the original. Without it though, it looks more or less pretty close to the vanilla PS1 version, and speaking of miracles, the N64 version actually contains the original cutscenes of the original PS1 version. Well, to some degree. Something had to take a big hit, and the frame rate of the CG cutscenes is definitely one of them, having a lot less detail and appeal when viewing them. Not saying cutscenes are an end-all be-all, but if you appreciate them in games, this might be a bit disappointing. Dithering is also another factor I noticed, which is a technique implemented in the N64 version to only render some of Leon or Claire when they are moving, as you can see here. Only parts of them are rendered, giving them a perforated look. Moving on to audio, this factor is one of the console's biggest flaws since it cannot pump out CD quality music compared to its counterparts. So due to this reason, if you care and appreciate the audio, you may not enjoy the N64 version as much as you would like, since so much of it is compressed and might not be as enjoyable as you would prefer.
You okay?
Still in one piece.
And to top it off with the additional features, the title contains the colorization and amount of blood to be colored, and a built-in item randomizer after finishing a scenario. For so much that is packed into one cartridge, it is a rather impressive feat to see that the dev teams have done in this final revision. Might be worth picking up just for these reasons alone. My favorite version to play out of all the ports This version doesn't do very much to add to the table except for a couple notable features. Released in December 22nd, 1999 in Japan, and December 6, 2000 in the States, the most notable feature of the title was its handy VMU memory card, being uniquely designed to display your health and ammo. This is an absolute game changer for the title, as it changes the quality of life by giving you an optimal view of health and ammo at all times without reverting to the menu. This improvement allows you to fight and kill enemies and release bullets at the perfect moment without stopping the firefight and continuing pumping rounds. For the second is an exclusive Nightmare mode, which allows for an even higher and excruciating difficulty. Moving on to audio, it pretty much more or less is around the same quality as the PS1 version, but still isn't compared to the N64, which has a very low compression rate. It does still seem to hold the same graphical prowess as the PS1, with the N64 holding higher resolutions, but this version is incredible due to a single quality of life change. Finally, we move on to our last title, the GameCube, a trusted and beloved console by many collectors and gamers alike. Resident Evil 2 GameCube borrows its template from the original PS1 title, but adds a couple new features to boot. To begin, since it's so closely related to the PS1 title, graphics as well as the background pretty much look the same in most categories, but don't have the crispness that the Dreamcast title creates. Cutscenes can now be skipped as well, and have a very smooth and clean finish to them, bringing some enjoyment for players who appreciate these CG cutscenes. Audio has no added improvement, and would be as you would expect compared to the likes of the Dreamcast and PS1, with the exception of the announcer redubbing Resident Evil 2 when announcing the title.
Resident Evil 2.
And finally, like the N64 version, everything is on a single disc for added convenience, so you don't need to swap discs to change campaigns. An arrange mode has been included similar to the other versions, as well as a battle mode, but honestly that's all that's added to this title. Unfortunately, the nosedive will have to be the price, which really isn't on the cheap side for the GameCube, and right around similar price range to Code Veronica. Still, this is a very sound and desirable version to collect and play, and one you will likely appreciate for a solid experience. And one of my favorite things about the Port vs. Port series is the ability to put different footage of the same game together and see which one looks better, which one looks worse, because once you put them together and you run them off, you'll see the little bit of differences such as the dithering, the color brightness, and little audio preferences as well. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So you guys would love to see this.
Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2.
Resident Evil 2. Man, what a mess. What could have done this?
Wait! Don't shoot!
Get down! We can't stay out here. Head to the police station. It'll be a lot safer.
Freeze! Who are you? What are you doing here?
Hold your fire! I'm a human!
Ooh. Sorry about that, babe. I thought you were one of them.
What's going on in this town?
Hold on. I don't have a clue. By the time I noticed something was wrong, the entire city was infested with zombies.
And that concludes today's edition of Port vs. Port. I apologize if some of these videos have been taking a while to make. I am a full-time college student as well as doing a little bit of work, so it does take some time. However, I'm still very much dedicated to get the content that you guys want and whatever will fall in between. And I just wanted to thank you guys so much for always supporting me and everything. If you guys are interested, all of my social media is down below: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, everything's down below. And finally, if you guys are interested in supporting the channel, getting more equipment, just like these soft boxes I have here, thanks to you guys on Patreon, my Patreon is down below if you are interested in doing that. It's totally optional. There is no paywalls or anything like that. If you have any questions, please, by all means, ask me and I'll do my best to help them. Also, I do a lot of streaming on Twitch, 9 p.m. Pacific time. My schedule is down below on my Twitch page. Be sure to check it out. I'm going to be finishing the Kingdom Hearts marathon and going to be finally going on to Kingdom Hearts 3. And I'm very excited. We've all been waiting for about 15 years for Kingdom Hearts 3. So let's kick it off and make it a great one. But thank you guys so much for your patience and your time. I want to do my best to make more content as much as possible. I appreciate your love. And take care.